Welcome back to our channel where we share updates and untold stories about Catherine, Princess of Wales, and her royal family. Today we bring you some news: Queen Camilla's betrayal exposed, King Charles and William strike, back on Royal Honours Day. Prince William's daring initiative to reform the royal family has caused strife, an insider source said. The report said Camilla and the grandkids were locked out when Prince William revealed their dirty plans against his kids, Camilla's plot discovered by Prince William. This video will explain why Prince William made this choice, which may surprise everyone. King Charles III has virtually removed Queen Camilla and her grandchildren from the core of the British monarchy, shocking Buckingham Palace and the world. After the shocking discovery that a well-planned campaign targeted the Prince and Princess of Wales's children, the king removed his wife's power and prohibited her family from official engagements. Sources within the palace characterized the decision as both heart-wrenching and absolute. The shock happened on Royal Honours Day, a new holiday aimed to unite Windsor. The main hall was more courtroom-like. Camilla's coaching plots to embarrass Prince George and Princess Charlotte were revealed in secret recordings aired over the public address system. In front of a surprised audience of nobles, dignitaries, and journalists, the king declared, "Queen Camilla and her family have no place in the future of this monarchy." International response was immediate. Washington analysts dubbed it the most severe internal purge of the royal family since the abdication of Edward VIII. Newspapers worldwide editorialized on the scandal's roots and possible consequences. The New York Times' front-page analysis emphasized Prince William's transformation from grieving son to unyielding crown protector, cementing his role as the monarchy's guardian. Domestic media drew historical and constitutional parallels. Conspiracy theories and raw emotion surged on social media as audio and eyewitness testimonies from the hall were shared. As public opinion settled on the royal family's apparent split, a tough subject remained. Was this public humiliation required to preserve the House of Windsor from an internal cancer? Or did it sow a deeper schism that will last generations? How could Camilla, for whom Charles sacrificed everything, compel the hand of her ally? The reality began with a series of incidents beneath London's falsely joyous spring sky. April 2025 should have been a day of family strength. Trooping the color, the monarch's birthday military procession got underway. Military bands marched along the Mall as Union Jacks waved. People lined up, sometimes 10 deep, to see the royal family on Buckingham Palace's balcony. Trooping is a rare time when the monarchy feels near and benign, a rite of continuity in an uncertain world. Everything seemed to be the cultivated unity expected. Behind that shiny picture, a gradual, toxic tension was created that would challenge the very concepts of duty and succession the day was intended to commemorate. Cheers erupted as palace doors opened and the family entered the balcony. The future of the House of Windsor was presented by Prince William and Catherine, the Princess of Wales, with their 3 children, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis. William, flawless in the Welsh Guards' scarlet uniform, sported sun-catching medals. He grinned for the cameras but seemed wary. Catherine, lovely in light blue, grasped their children's hands with pride and passionate protection. Years of public performance and private difficulties had given them a comfort that televised moments could not portray. George, 11 and second in line, showed maturity and responsibility. He was attentive as his parents had taught him, but his mother saw a stiffness beneath the grin. Charlotte, 10, waved enthusiastically and thrilled the throng. Louis, aged 7, added humor to the situation with his funny expressions, shattering the stillness. The scene depicted a unified, forward-thinking family, demonstrating contemporary monarchy in action. However, a more worrying event occurred behind the staged scene. Charlotte, playing tag with her brothers in a family yard, was abruptly pushed by Freddie Parker Bowles, Queen Camilla's 13-year-old grandson. It appeared intentional, not accidental. Charlotte stained her white dress and scuffed her knees on the new grass. She wailed, horrified and wounded. Her tears were like her mother's. "Why push me?" Freddie leaned over her with a cheeky, unrepentant smile, so she inquired. George, the oldest brother, ran to Charlotte, furious. Holding her hand, he prepared to face Freddie. Camilla spoke out as she sat with a tiny silver tray of tea nearby. She spoke softly, like ice in winter, to the little gathering. "William's children are always so coddled," she continued, looking over Charlotte like the crying youngster was nothing. "They need to learn to stand on their own 2 feet, not cry over everything." She didn't chastise her grandchild. Charlotte received no comfort. Staff and courtiers heard her announcement like a judgment. No one talked in the little gathering. After crossing an unseen border, everyone felt it. In that silence, a footman shuffled uncomfortably, an instructor tightened his grasp on a portfolio, and a nanny wiped an invisible tear. William saw everything from afar. He raged hot and cold. He came over, knelt alongside Charlotte, raised her, and dried her tears. "It's okay, my love," he murmured. "Daddy's here." But Camilla remained his focus. She sat with her teacup steaming in the chilly air, wearing the same face William recalled from childhood, the look of someone who felt she couldn't be touched. Catherine sank her claws into William's arm. "You saw that," she said nervously. "William, these aren't simply irresponsible kids. A message. She tests us." William's jaw stiffened. He would stop Camilla if she dared to touch our children. He became more determined. He embraced Charlotte, looking at Freddie's juvenile attitude. Outside, the applauding audience seemed distant. A stealthy battle was begun in secret chambers and behind smiles. Palace-run networks minimized the incident within hours. The tabloids headlined, "Tensions Backstage at Royal Ceremony. Princess Charlotte's Unexpected Tumble to Downplay It." William knew better. He felt Camilla instilled ambition and hatred in her grandson, not a physical push. This wasn't a playground fight. It started a struggle that would test family loyalty and responsibility. Camilla's aspirations grew silently over decades. Her visit to Clarence's house and a gilded mirror allowed her to trace Queen Mary's crown in a display case and fantasize about Charles's coronation in May 2023. She secretly resolved that the Parker Bowles lineage wouldn't remain peripheral when standing behind him in Westminster Abbey with the crown on his head. She wanted the dynasty to revolve around her family. That ambition came from pride, a lifetime of social mobility, and a growing belief that her progeny deserved more than invitations and holidays. That objective intensified by 2025. She saw Freddie as a valued advisor to the future king, and her granddaughter, Eliza Lopes, clever, charming, and photogenic as a major royal figure. Camilla thought Eliza might ensure her position by marrying or becoming essential, surpassing the Windsor heirs in popular regard. She felt it was a rescue mission for a gifted but marginalized family, not vanity. Her predecessors were the Wales family and Prince George, the future king. George was a popular and powerful symbol of continuity at 11. He was trained in intellect, obedience, and duty. Camilla saw him as a barrier to power. If she could cast doubt on his strength, she could explore other choices. Her strategy started there. Camilla planned carefully and coldly. She knew Charles's upcoming month-long visit to Canada would distract him from palace responsibilities due to diplomatic and environmental commitments. Camilla pulled official royal stationery from a locked cabinet and forged the king's signature with a pen and skilled hand, a talent she had acquired after years of observing and copying his handwriting. Prince George was told to immediately enroll in the Royal Army's Air Spirit Training School in the fake edict written in royal style. The Air Spirit program, founded by the king to train his grandson for leadership, was known for its brutality and goal of pushing cadets to their physical and psychological limits. Camilla wanted George broken, not built. She worked with others. Over years, she had accumulated favors and loyalties, quiet gifts to military organizations, promises of progress, tiny courtesies that became obligations. She called program leaders, One official promised her over a secure line, "Her Majesty's wishes will be carried out, making the prince's hastened service seem unsurprising." They prepared. It was organized nearly military style. George would be picked up by an olive green car at a hidden Kensington Palace service door before dawn, when most staff were asleep. George would return before his parents noticed, since sessions were brief. To seem official, George's private secretary, James Hartley, seduced by advancement and personal gain, listed the trips as specialized physical education and living history classes personally mandated by His Majesty the King. Camilla promised herself, "No one will suspect. No one will see my actions." Since George was submissive and eager to please, Hartley's note went unquestioned. Hartley said his granddad ordered it. The child nodded, anxious and eager to show himself. Royal children learn to smile and learn responsibility. However, George was still a youngster, which affected what was going to happen. His early morning shocks were severe. At the barracks, he was thrust into a world he was unprepared for. The military vehicle smelled of leather and grease. He suffered forced marches with a heavy load that dug into his youthful shoulders, arduous obstacle courses, and extended military strategy classes where teachers were told to be merciless. They ordered him, teased him, and expected him to keep up. Faster. "Prince Do Kings run like this," a teacher shouted as George fought to keep up, grinding his teeth. Silent tears of fatigue and guilt mingled with sweat. Sometimes his body ached so terribly he feared he might collapse. He continued to return to Kensington Palace with a trained grin, masking his dark circles and limp from his parents. He mastered perseverance and concealing suffering. He pressed his hands to his eyes till the tears ceased at bedtime. In peaceful hours, he imagined his father's firm face and told himself to be courageous. From her Clarence House chamber, Camilla received Hartley's coded daily updates and grinned at George's tribulations. "Let them see him falter," she said to herself. "Show his weakness. They'll see my blood's power." Mother instincts. Catherine saw George's odd fatigue, food picking, and fake cheeriness. She discovered his muddy socks in an unsuitable drawer. Schoolmates reported a sporadic limp. At night, she stroked his hair and murmured, "Darling, is everything all right? You seem exhausted lately." George was quiet. He felt he couldn't speak since Hartley had informed him it was his grandfather's instruction, and grown-ups had branded it with duty. He feared early mornings indoors. Then a key witness appeared. Sir Timothy Lawrence, retired Vice Admiral and husband of Princess Anne, inspected a Royal Army barracks outside London on a foggy morning in early June 2025. Sir Timothy, a distinguished Navy veteran and moralist, had a keen eye. While walking the parade field and watching cadets, he saw something that stopped him. Prince George struggled with a large military rucksack. A tiny 11-year-old seemed overwhelmed with slumped shoulders, sweaty hair, and shaky feet. A tough sergeant yelled, "Hurry, do not stop if you can't manage this. Don't dream of the throne." George attempted to comply. Exhaustion brought tears to his eyes. His pulse pounded as he kneeled, gripping his chest. Sir Timothy was incensed, since these programs were for older recruits. This was abuse, not child training. He immediately left the inspection to contact Prince William in a separate office. "Your Highness," he pleaded, "I must see you now. About Prince George." Sir Timothy stormed into William's afternoon sessions, breaking convention. He recounted seeing George in full gear, carrying a load nearly his own weight and being knocked over. William paled. "Who gave permission?" He demanded, his voice low till it rose in wrath. The probe began quickly and discreetly. James Hartley had 3 big, untraceable contributions totaling $75,000 sent from an offshore account to a Clarence House-linked private fund. The transfer labels said, "For special support services." While small-town bankers shrugged, they became clues in a separate riddle in the palace. William checked bank statements. Bribery and trickery were prevalent, and forged letters with the king's signature appeared. Someone fabricated authority and bribed individuals to attack his children. Hartley was monitored secretly. Soon after, additional evidence surfaced. Princess Charlotte was supposed to deliver a brief address at a Windsor Castle dinner. Someone cut her light pink dress with scissors minutes before she spoke. In the hubbub, Camilla's granddaughter, Eliza Lopes, came in a gown and gave the speech, drawing cheers. It looked ideal. They missed Catherine's longest-serving dresser, a dedicated employee. She concealed her phone and videotaped the rapid scissors movement and quiet from a nearby nook, suspicious of Eliza. The encrypted footage was on Prince William's phone in minutes. After seeing the film privately, William was furious. This proved the assaults weren't isolated. It was planned to attack his elder children and weaken succession. This was not familial strife. It was a threat to the monarchy. Catherine was near pale but ferocious. "This ends now, William," she said. "This ends." The reception King Charles received when he returned from Canada in late July was unusual. William presented the facts calmly and meticulously in a Buckingham Palace chamber like a prosecutor. He presented the footage of Eliza cutting Charlotte's clothing after Sir Timothy's eyewitness testimony, the fake paperwork and bank records. The procedure was rigorous because William wanted every fact to be verified. Charlie listened. He slumped into a chair and grabbed the wooden armrest. His expression showed shock, betrayal, and anguish with every piece of evidence. Could his supported and promoted lady be behind such brutality to his grandchildren? He murmured. This cannot be cracking, as if he could wish it differently. He recoiled, as if stung. Treachery affected him personally, complicating any constitutional reaction. "It is," Father William said. The king was urged to test Camilla immediately for confirmation. Charles went from spouse to king in a flash. Sovereign replaced the loving buddy. After promising to investigate the truth, he cautioned that William's claims would have repercussions. The trap was laid by Charles. He introduced Royal Honors Day, stating it would promote the monarchy's unity and charity, but the true goal was to catch Camilla in the act. He instructed longtime royal assistant Sir Edward Young to put covert recording devices in Clarence House private chambers. "I want to hear it from her own lips," the king remarked, his words tiny but powerful. William's fears were confirmed by the recordings. Camilla told her grandson Freddie to inquire about military tactics. Stumble him. When he does, ridicule him. She advised Eliza Charlotte's speech will be on the lectern. "Make it vanish. You will intervene when she panics. You'll shine." The palace main hall was filled on Royal Honors Day. Senior officers, politicians, Commonwealth representatives, and cultural leaders packed the golden area. Cameras recorded the coordinated performances. The day was billed as a celebration of service and an opportunity for the royal family to unify following months of succession and relevance speculation. As Camilla planned, Freddie humiliated a frightened George with questions beyond his years, Charlotte's speech notes disappeared, and she worried, and Eliza walked up with a camera-ready grin. At the height of turmoil, the king ascended. He commanded stop, and the hall quieted. The secret recordings played on a huge screen set up for the event. As her secret plans were revealed, Camilla's chilly voice filled the room. People gasped. Camilla in the front row became pale. Charles interrupted her argument, his voice booming with power and treachery. "Enough, Camilla," he yelled. "You betrayed this family. You betrayed the crown. You did me wrong. Your family is unfit for this dynasty." In startled stillness, William gripped Catherine's hand. Camilla, whose dreams were dashed, sat alone. Around her, the Parker Bowles family, colorful and frequently welcome on family days, was suddenly exposed to the most public condemnation a constitutional monarch can exact without judicial procedures. Next morning, the story erupted. The videos went viral with headlines like "Royal Plot Exposed" and "Queen's Betrayal." Public opinion, which had tolerated Camilla for years, quickly turned against her. Within days, polling showed her personal popularity plummeting and William and Catherine rising. The palace's PR staff had prepared crisis statements, but the tapes were too fresh to mask. Charles moved rapidly. The Parker Bowles family was officially expelled from royal responsibilities, privileges, and event guest lists by Buckingham Palace. Camilla's grandkids, previously regulars at family occasions, were abruptly removed from public life and isolated under royal protection. Camilla retained the title, Queen Consort Removing. It would have caused a constitutional crisis and political risk, but it became primarily symbolic. She was a queen in name, only trapped in Clarence House with little public interaction. Her staff was changed, and she lost power. Beneficiaries of her patronage parted ways. She apparently penned a journal in her secret chambers about her wrath and vengeance desires. They cannot remove our desire according to a leaked paragraph. Whether true or a royal ploy to affect public opinions, observers believed that Camilla's fall was as much about class and bloodline as individual malice. The cleansing created a new power balance. The monarchy revolved around William and Catherine. They expanded public activities and seemed stable and dedicated. Their schedule included school, hospital, and veterans center visits. They kept the children's education going and distributed carefully controlled photos of family life tea with grandparents' homework assistance, bedtime stories through royal channels to show recovery and continuity. Public support grew as they were seen as crown guardians. Charity leaders and community members appreciated Wales's cautious approach. Despite being injured, Prince George and Princess Charlotte were healing under their parents' monitoring. Their perseverance was portrayed as evidence of the family's strength as individuals and as representatives of a contemporary monarchy. The incident had lasting effects, including physical weariness in an 11-year-old, public humiliation in a 10-year-old, and public exposure of a family's hardships. King Charles, devastated by treachery, relied more on his son. In private meetings and public tasks, he gave William more responsibility and expedited his throne preparation. Advisors promoted William to head charitable committees, represent the crown on domestic efforts, and oversee family concerns. Next-generation resolution and a father's desire to defend the institution he would pass on determined the monarchy's next phase. Still, the humiliated queen haunted the palace. Despite cutting down her ambition and rage, Seedling's doubts persisted about their uprooting. Camilla's fans, who recall her decades as Charles's companion, decried the severe penalty and cautioned that shutting someone out may leave unresolved resentments. Others said bold action was needed to show that the institution prioritizes family welfare and succession. The situation sparked national debate. Constitutional experts were asked to explain royal power and monarchy protections. Legal specialists explained on morning programs which palace machinery sections were within the sovereign's jurisdiction and which needed legislative oversight. Lawmakers privately discussed whether to take further steps to safeguard young royals from exploitation and whether to change the palace's administration. Anonymous interviews with former courtiers and palace workers showed that personal attachments and informal power balances sometimes trumped constitutional formalities. A former private secretary described a web of patronage where tiny favors become power over time. Critics believed such institutions rendered the palace subject to private goals that conflicted with public duties. Commonwealth leaders watched intently. A few carefully worded remarks expressed confidence that the king would safeguard the dignity of the crown and the safety of the children, while others sensitive to constitutional symbolism urged caution and procedure. Commentators in numerous capitals argued whether Britain's monarchy rooted in symbolism and trust could survive the internal split without affecting other monarchies. Camilla suffered public and personal retribution. She kept her title, but her presence, power, and national welcome declined. Rumors and scrutiny plagued her private life. Photos of her attending garden openings or charity events were replaced with accounts of her spending hours in thought-visiting attorneys and appealing with aides to preserve dignity. Her closest relatives, acquaintances, and Parker Bowles clan members were excluded from formal gatherings. Family gatherings became quieter. Parker Bowles's children, formerly popular at birthdays and anniversaries, were kept quiet. Teens like Freddie and Eliza faced immediate and enduring social repercussions. A queen consort grandchild may have done a year of public service, but they have now been unemployed for years in high-profile jobs. The human tragedy of broken loyalties is also present. Charles, who having formed a life with Camilla and become a parent and ruler to her progeny, found himself in the most terrible predicament a man of his rank can be in. He balanced love duty, constitutional obligation, and grandchild protection. The videos prompted him to make a legacy-defining choice. The palace workers who carried out the sting spoke with the reserved candor of those who had seen too much and had to put the institution first. Sir Edward Young, who placed the devices, told a confidential colleague that he felt as though I was removing a tumor. Others experienced restless nights and pervading sorrow at a broken family. The palace swiftly strengthened security and administration. A closed and controlled system kept Wales students safe while they attended school. New procedures vetted who might approve royal programs impacting kids. A safeguarding committee with independent child protection and constitutional law advisors was formed. The palace launched an internal investigation of patronage and a crackdown on informal avenues of influence that enabled favors and responsibilities to accrue. These policies sent a message that private ambition could not exploit crown proximity. There was immediate discussion about balancing openness with royal discretion. Some legal experts advocated for legislative monitoring over palace activities, including charity partnership funding flows and agreements that might affect succession or heirs. Conservatives advised against politicizing the crown and recommended family changes. Cultural conversations revealed as much as institutional ones. According to columnists, the event was linked to long-standing class conflicts in Britain, including hostility against perceived foreigners and the persistence of ancien regime inclinations in contemporary institutions. In the age of social media scrutiny, royal offspring face new pressures, the weaponization of family relations, and the creation of an atmosphere where allegiance and lineage may be exchanged for power. International critics compared it to royal uprisings. The abdication of Edward VIII was highlighted as a model for private and public life conflicting. Historians warned that each crisis changes the crown. After past scandals, improvements made the home leaner and contemporary. Whether this fresh breach would trigger a comparable reinvention or cement a new status quo was unclear. Children felt the effects personally. Security checks and arranged family time changed the habits of children who had been photographed on playgrounds and at school activities till a few months previously. They had playdates monitored by trusted personnel and family vacations in seclusion, but the palace couldn't hide their bruises. Catherine and William added trusted caretakers and palace medical team psychologists. Practical questions spread among courtiers and workers. How were formal sign-off processes avoided? What drove Hartley's complicity? Could more private secretaries be compromised? A rule prohibiting single staff members from making unilateral agreements involving children was implemented after an access privilege audit. We established oversight of military honorary appointments and implemented independent verification for sovereign endorsement petitions. The legal implications were considered. Some speculated that faking the king's signature and coordinating minor operations may lead to criminal charges. Others said it was hard to criminalize private behavior at an institution safeguarded by centuries of practice. Police said they were in contact with palace authorities, but highlighted the need of managing national security and the royal household's special position discreetly. In public, the monarchs showed kindness and discipline. After prioritizing devotion to a partner who had helped him weather public storms, King Charles sided with the institution in full power. That option will be examined by history. A chilly pragmatism. A required guardianship. A heartbroken husband's final resort. Many saw the dilemma as a king choosing between a longtime partner and his dynasty's destiny. Next steps are unknown. Monarchy has endured public ridicule and private treachery. If history is any indication, it will develop. Critics will evaluate William and Catherine's governance, assessing their decisive or heavy-handed approach to child protection. Camilla's supporters may scheme a return. Public rehabilitation is unexpected and sometimes cruel. There are the children, real kids whose lives will be molded by public attention for years. Restoring palace trust is similarly difficult. Those who saw the videos felt satisfaction at a definitive deed but regretted family divisions. After the purge, some top aides said the family became wintry protocols, enforced smiles calculated, and invites cut. An unidentified mid-level footman who had served 3 generations said that he had never seen such darkness, even seeing mortifications and scandals. Outsiders saw the institution's reaction. Some lauded the king's steadfastness, while others cautioned against public shame. They noted the long-term anger in private families. Senior child welfare activists urged a public probe into royal palace safeguarding protocols, noting that insufficient protections exist if a culture allows a kid-targeting strategy to reach this position. The dilemma revealed a sad reality for Charles. The crown demands devotion and discipline, and the king must occasionally choose the institution over his lover. He thought that eliminating Camilla's influence would safeguard the monarchy's long-term integrity. If his action maintained a flawless succession line, it caused deep personal rupture. As the palace progresses, the boundary between personal ambition and civic obligation becomes clearer. Whether such redrawing will heal or hide tensions is unknown. Camilla may have scaled down her ambition and fury, but they may not have been entirely removed. The Windsors have survived storms, recreated themselves, and survived. One of those trials is this crisis about a family and institution and the consequences of power when private intentions become public. The confession made on Royal Honors Day may be more memorable than the honors. A monarch chose duty over love that day. A family openly disagreed over the monarchy's future. It was a day when the children who should have been protected from such calculations were caught in a storm they did not pick. In the next months, courtiers will tighten restrictions, PR teams will craft narratives, and journalists will follow every twist. Parliamentary and independent studies will examine palace informal power networks. The nation will debate tradition versus transparency. One basic reality remains among the public concerns and private grudges: those who believed they could change a home established by centuries of etiquette and feeling have rattled it to its core. The monarchy must endure as an institution that protects the weak and prioritizes public interest above individual desire. Time will tell whether the Windsor family has found that balance, if the trauma can be healed, and whether those who planned the attack on a future king can be forgiven or must be kept at a safe distance for a shaky continuation. The royal hallway lights remain on. Late tactics are devised and redrafted, and in private nurseries, the little faces who will represent the country are swaddled, monitored, and loved like precious breakable things. Thank you for watching the video. Please let us know your thoughts, and goodbye for now.